Hey YouTube, welcome back to UniXTCG, and today we're going to be doing a Dragon Ball Super Fusion World leader tier list between the first 4 starter decks as well as the first set Awaken Pulse. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people kind of give their opinions on these leaders, and I wanted to throw my own hat into the ring, so here we go. I'm going to set this video at 100 likes for a like goal, and then I just also want to let you guys know that I will be doing a giveaway on my Patreon for the full art SR from the Goku and Vegeta deck, and just in case you guys want to see the difference between the full art and the normal, here it is. These are beautiful cards, and I think you guys are going to like that. So yeah, go ahead and jump on the Patreon when you guys get the chance. I'll be dropping Fusion World articles there as well. And last but not least, if you want to support the brand in another meaningful yet free way, head on over to my Dragon Ball channel in the description, UniXDB, and maybe just give some of those videos a like and let them run in the background, because all I need is watch hours for that channel to be monetized. Now, with that being said, let's hop into the tier list. All right, so here you guys can see my tier list. We've got 5 different tiers. We've got Tenkaichi Budokai champions. These are the people I think can win consistently, win your events, win your tournaments or regionals, whatever cups they decide to put out. Then you've got meta-worthy, or I mean, as the title would suggest, meta-worthy. I think they're going to be topping, sometimes can win, but just are missing a slight edge that would tip them into Budokai champions. Then we've got Unspoken Riz. These are going to be ones that are roguish, that have some, some applications that I don't think everybody quite sees yet. Then we have competitive, and realistically, I think in set 1 with the starter decks and set 1 leaders, most things can be competitive or higher. We're just not in a deep enough card pool to really separate them. And then we got Yamcha level. If there are any stinkers, this is going to be where they go. So with that being said, we are going to jump into the very first one. Most of these leaders are just going to swing and draw on their front side. Some of them have crit and plus 5k, and every now and then we have something special, like Broly, who's going to flip and put an energy into your life, or Ginyu is going to flip and just, a life into your energy, or Ginyu that's going to flip and untap an energy. So with that being said, I'm going to set this, I think I already said it, might have not, a little confused. I'm going to set this light goal for over 100. I'm pretty sure we can get there. And then let's actually just continue here. So the first leader up is going to be the starter deck Goku. We're going to put starter deck Goku in meta-worthy. A lot of people put this guy on the lower level, but I've been testing a fair amount with this game, and I also have some people that also test and have been talking, like my homie Cody from the Dragon Ball Super Masters group. Basically, this Goku at the very moment is probably superior in leader skills than the set 1 Goku. And the reason why we say this is because the set 1 Goku, much like Zoro from One Piece, he needs a wide board. But the thing that Zoro from One Piece definitely had going for it is a bunch of 1 and 2 drops that could easily be deployed. Whereas this Goku, yes, you have some 2 drops in set 1 in the starter decks, but you have 3 drops. Your power really starts coming into play with the 4-drop Gohan, the 5-drop Goku, the 5-drop Beerus, the 4-drop Ultra Instinct SER. And with that being said, you're not really machine gun vomiting out these threats. You're actually just kind of putting a bunch of mid-range threats. It's a mid-range tempo deck with a whole bunch of destruction and some really good pressure. So with that being said, without the ability to put a bunch of bodies on board, you're not really getting his widespread 5k effect as much as you would need to. I think that realistically, you have to have 2 to 3 bodies on board at the same time consistently to get the mileage out of set 1 Goku. Whereas the starter deck Goku is just sensu beaning a card every turn, your turn and your opponent's turn. You can swing and just boost something up by 5k. They can swing on you and you can boost something up by 5k. So with that being said, I do think that starter deck Goku right now has the edge over U7, set 1 Goku until we get some more lower costing things or some cards that play other cards for free. Right now, the only case of that we haven't read, if I'm not mistaken, is like Kalen to Caulifla, and those are not Universe 6 or Universe 7, so they don't get the boost from Universe 7 Goku. So there is what it is. Now the next one, I'm gonna go over with Broly, and starter deck Broly, I'm going to put him in competitive. The reason why I'm gonna put him in competitive is just because out of the green leaders that we get from set 1, he is definitely the weakest in my opinion. He also has a very, very nasty caveat when it comes to his awakening turn. If you guys have played Masters, you guys know how important it could be to take your opponent from 5 to 3 with a double striker, because you're going to put them at the point where they couldn't awaken to a point where they're awakening at a suboptimal life total. Well, this Broly requires you to take a card from your life and add it to your energy. This is a mandatory effect. So if you ever hit your opponent with a double striker while they are at 5 life, they are going to go from 5 to 3 and then be forced to go from 3 to 2 to awaken. That's not good. That's actually horrendous. And Broly's greatest awakening turn is when you can swing with the leader, get the draw, then awaken, getting the extra energy, and then pop an extra energy, or pop an energy after playing your cards to get another draw. So this is a very strong swing of tempo, but at the same time, being in a position where your opponent could potentially force you into an unadvantageous awakening is just not a good place you want to be in. Because of that, and the fact that he, unlike, like, yes, him and Gohan both have to rely on cards that you draw to ramp, but Gohan overall has a better leader effect once you have things like 5-drop Goku going on. Android 17 and 18 also are going to be able to use Dr. Zero's lab to consistently ramp every turn. Broly has the dependencies that Gohan has, but has a worse leader effect and slightly potentially harmful awakening. So I do think that Broly is in competitive, but I think that against a lot of decks that can pressure, he is going to fall a little bit short. Next, we've got Vegeta, and I'm going to put Vegeta in meta worthy. Honestly, I think that once Red gets the SER and set 1, that Vegeta kind of falls a little bit behind. He requires you to have a very low hand, and yes, there's some really good momentum you can get with the leader going up to 35k when you have 7 or less cards in hand, but at the same time, this leader is going to still have to be at 7 cards in hand once he's awakened to get the best of his effects. And yes, you can kind of time your effects, combo to protect yourself on your opponent's turn and then still be at that 7, but more or less you're going to often find yourself in these positions where he's just got a low hand and your opponent does not, and they're able to be leaned on. So I think that the aggro that you can get off this leader is good, but you do want to be very, very careful on how this leader is able to potentially get caught lacking with low hand size. Then we have Frieza. Frieza, he's the first one I'm going to put in Tenkaichi Budokai Champions. He is the best leader when it comes to the starter deck format, but he actually doesn't really fall off that hard going into this next meta. Yes, he does falter a little bit against cards like Beerus that can wipe its blockers off the board, but as long as you're holding cards like King Cold and Mecha Frieza in hand, you can establish some boards pretty much the following turn after getting Beerus. And I think that while Frieza doesn't get a lot of help from set 1, he can still be a very, very, very strong leader as long as you play him correctly and build him correctly. But just know that if you played in any of the pre-releases with starter decks or you played in any starter deck constructed events, Frieza is not the unstoppable juggernaut that he was in those formats once set 1 gets released, because Yellow gets the least amount of help coming into this new set. Next, Goku Black, we are putting him into the Unspoken Riz category. For now, until we have an errata on Pilaf, which is a 1-drop blue card that can pick up a 1-drop Earthling, he is an Earthling from the drop, normally these cards prevent themselves from picking up themselves. Currently, Pilaf can pick up Pilaf, and since extra cards now have traits in their specifications, much like One Piece's events, you can pick up Final Hope Slash from the grave because it's a 1-cost Earthling extra card. Final Hope Slash is going to be able to add 20k power onto something during your offensive pushes, and then bounce something that's 2 cost or less to an owner's hand. What could that be? I don't know, the Pilaf that just picked up Pilaf, or the Pilaf that just picked up that Final Hope Slash and added it to your hand. So with that being said, you're going to be able to recycle about 30k power per turn minimum. And this is if you're not stacking Pilafs. You could get a Pilaf to your hand, then play a Pilaf, and that Pilaf can then get Final Hope Slash to your hand. And then you just end up swinging, using the Pilaf as a combo, then using Final Hope Slash as another combo, bouncing back the Pilaf that's still on the board. There's a lot of combos. We're going to get into that in some future showcases. However, yeah, with Pilaf and Final Hope Slash, you got a renewable 30 to 40k power push every single turn, and that being backed by a critical leader is very, very strong. Now, once Goku Black flips over, he's not really doing anything special. You can bottom deck a Zamasu to reduce the cost of a Goku Black in your hand, but realistically, you're just trying to push all the cards out of their life in hand with the critical effect, and then just close out game using peel off to loop peel offs and final hope slashes for insanely high game pushes. So yeah, he is here in the unspoken Riz tier. Now, next we are going to go into Trunks. Trunks is a little hard to place because I don't think he's necessarily above or below Goku. I think he's like right about the same, but I'm going to put him there. Trunks' ability allows him to bounce a 3-cost or less to the hand when he attacks. Actually, no, I think is it when he attacks, or is it once per turn? Let me just make sure I'm reading this correctly. It's once per turn, activate main. So essentially, all your come into play effects on cards that are 3-cost or less are going to put in so much more work. And then there are going to be certain cards in your opponent's field that aren't safe, such as, you know, Green's 3-drop Trunks, Frieza's blockers. There are a lot of things that Trunks can push back into the hand and then force them to combo with them, or just, you know, force them to replay them. So with that being said, we really do have a leader that can recycle a bunch of your best come into play effects, and that's going to be something that's very, very nice. Past that, Trunks is also going to kind of suffer because while he's able to recycle these effects, he also needs a lot of blues cards to be at 7 cards or less in hand, so there's a lot of things you can do with that. A little odd. Now, we're going to go to Beerus. This is going to be a spicy hot topic, but I think that Beerus is going to be in the Tenkaichi Budokai Champions tier. I think that he is exceptionally good as a red mid-range control. You have the ability to be crit. Shin allows him to be a 30k swinger when he goes off. You allow him to just really, really pressure you, and then you have all the crit that red has. On top of that, you have Beerus that clears fields when they get too unruly and can swing, and then when he does flip over, he's minusing 10 to something once per turn on an activate main. This can go into conjunction with so many things. You can minus something by 10k and then swing with the 4-drop Gohan that already has crit, minus it another 10k, it's gone if it's 20k or less. You're able to minus something 10k, but then you can play the secret rare Goku and minus it another 15k, and then swing with it knowing you're going to not only annihilate it, but also burn them for damage. I think that Beerus is one of the better mid-range red decks, and I really think he's going to shine coming into this format. Next, you have the set 1 Goku. I'm going to put him at the bottom of meta worthy because I do feel like he's just the same deck as started at Goku, but he's just not as good. Like I said, his effect is not going to be as relevant on the offense. Your board is still going to get taken down by lots of these decks and what they can do. So he's still a red like leader, and red is a very good color come this set. So that is that. Now next, we are going to go into Ginyu, and honestly, I have to say that Ginyu might be the first Yamcha level leader. And I know this is kind of like rough because Ginyu has some really cool plays, but at the end of the day, Ginyu is a draw 1 leader on the front side. He doesn't draw for his awaken. He's very, very dependent on what you draw throughout the game. He is going to be a deck that is going to need to see your Reikums. He's going to need to see your Ginyu SRs to continue your playing of cards. He's going to need to see these things. And if you are a Ginyu deck and you just see like 3 Jaces and 2 Goldos, you're not going to be as nearly as efficient as if you were to see, you know, Reikum, Searcher Ginyu, 2-drop SR Ginyu. There's just a lot of variance in his deck so far from what I'm seeing when you draw, and I do think that he just needs a little bit more. Also, because everything is so small, 20k, you don't have any 30ks, you don't have any 35ks that you can untap with this effect, it's kind of weird because for the most part, unless you're expending hand, which you need to keep playing, you need to play these cards out, so you can't really expend your hand over and over again for comboing. You're swinging with a bunch of 20ks, and they're dropping a single card out of their hand to stop each swing for the most part, and then your bigger pushes come from the Ginyu Force Extra card. So with that being said, I do think that a lot of factors have to go into play to make Ginyu good, and I do think that Ginyu can high roll people, but this list, I'm definitely taking consistency into the equation, and I do think that Ginyu is at a point where he's just not quite there yet. And I'm going to switch these around. I do think Frieza is below Beerus in the Tenkaichi Budokai Champions because the 5-drop Beerus just mises the crap out of that deck. Now, we're going to go over to Gohan. I'm going to put Gohan over here at currently the top of Tenkaichi Budokai Champions. And no, not because I just am a Gohan simp, but because this leader is very, very strong. Every once per turn, he's going to be able to, and this is either player's turn, in the battle, he is going to, it's actually just once per turn during the battle, you're going to be able to trash an energy and then he's going to go up by 15k, making him a 35k. This is offensive, this is defensive, and when you have the 5-drop Goku on the board that allows you to play an energy from the top of your deck rested every time you send an energy to the drop, you're going to be able to keep cycling the top card of your deck using this, which means for free, this character is just going to go up to 35k on the offensive once per turn and on the defensive once per turn. This saves cards in hand when you're pressing or defending. It's just a very, very good effect. Also, green is just a very powerful color come set 1, and overall, this is just a really, really good leader. Now, the couple chinks in his armor, though, is the fact that he requires a lot of good setup, and red is exceptionally good at removing that Goku. And when it comes to the Beerus matchup, red can not only remove that Goku, but pressure you with crit and hammer your hand, and then once you're awakened, really start forcing you to use your leader effect after they've removed the Goku from the field, which will put a lot of strain on your energy, effectively cutting off your top end in most cases. It's a really, really, really vicious cycle. So Gohan and Beerus might be, the reason why I'm having Gohan over Beerus is because Gohan will mise half these decks here. Gohan will really hurt most of these decks, but just has unfavorable interactions versus red. The next one I'm going to put out is androids. I'm definitely putting them into the top of the Tenkaichi Budokai champions. I do think that they are going to be more consistent with Gohan because they are not stuck to what you draw. Dr. Jiro's lab is at 4 copies, and Dr. Jiro himself, Android 20, is at 4 copies. If you don't see 8 of a card by the time you hit your turn 3, that is just RNG that's frowning on you for the day. You should be able to see one of those 8 cards in the first 3 turns of the game between your leader swing, your draws, and your opening hand. And then on top of that, if you see Dr. Jiro, you're going in 10 cards deep. If you see Dr. Jiro and do not see Dr. Jiro's lab, I am fairly certain that looking at your top 10 is going to find it for you. So overall, you have the ability to play this. You are ramping consistently. That ramp cannot be touched by other cards so far in the game. It's not a Goku that can get wiped off the board. You're just doing it organically, and it starts as early as turn 3. Whether you go first and you reach 3 energy first, or you go second and you burn your coin, you are still getting that Dr. Jiro's lab off. And I think that the suite of green cards with their destruction, the life gain, the double strike on a 40k, I just think that he's just, this leader is exemplary. I think it is honestly the best one in set 1. And then last but not least, we are going to go into the unspoken Riz tier one more time with Cooler. And the reason why I'm putting him here is so this Cooler has a very, very interesting effect on its back end. This Cooler just says, when attacking, draw 1 card, activate man or battle once per turn, discard 1 card from your hand, choose up to 1 of your battle cards, the cost of 4 or less, and freeze a clan and its special traits, or 1 of your energy and switch to active mode. The energy extends plays, but the Frieza switching up can switch that 40k Frieza SR up to be able to swing again. He can also, or for the first turn he's out swing again, or you can just do that to untap him period for the rest of the game. He can also use that to untap things like the Cooler SR so that you can swing, get its effect, and then draw. Or swing, get its effect, and then you can untap him so he can block. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with this effect. However, on the front end, he is a critical leader. And what this allows you to do is apply a lot of pressure in red. Swing with 20k crit, and then play out a Raccoon, take a life, and then play out a Ginyu to search top 5 for another Ginyu force, or play the Ginyu SR if you have another Frieza's army character on board to then untap 2 more energy so that you can then go off. You start actually making some ridiculous plays when that happens. Like on 4 energy with Cooler, you can swing with Cooler for 20k for a crit, play Raccoon for 3 out of your 4 energy, play the Ginyu SR, and you only need to have 1 more Frieza's army on board to then untap 2 more energy, and then play another Raccoon who's going to take another life, who's then going to play another Ginyu Force card, and then you can flip over if you've taken 2 life and gone from 6 to 4. There's a lot of cascading effects that can add some of the hardest pressure in the game, and I really do think that Goku Black is only above this guy because Goku Black has the peel-off loop. If that gets eroded, we're immediately going to have to put Cooler over the top of him in Unspoken Riz, and he actually may be a sleeper Tenkaichi Budokai champion. It's very hard to know. But with that being said, that is my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed talking about it. And yeah, Took a little bit long, but you know, we had to go into explanations for all of these. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go to the Patreon spotlight page to thank everybody that gives the channel a little bit of a bump. And past that, I hope you guys are enjoying this game like I am. The sets release in about a week and change. Pre-releases are in 2 days. And yeah, this is gonna be awesome. So thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Alright guys, now we are back at the Patreon Appreciation Spotlight. This is where I give extra thanks to all the people to give the extra push to the channel. On the Patreon, you will find articles that are a little too long to put up in video form. We are now getting to the release of Fusion World, so we're going to start diving into that, but we're also going to start doing our OPO 6 articles as well. Been a little bit gummed up with work here, so it's been just a little bit of a rowdy time, but yeah, we will get to it. We've also got giveaways for the Uta deck and the SRs from the Goku and Vegeta starter deck for Fusion World, so we are going to put those up within the next week. And yeah, now I want to give a special thank you to the members of the Realm of X, the people to give the extra mile, the Beerus, the Brycars, the Big Daddy Flapjacks. Thank you guys for being there, and I will see you all in the next article and or video later.